Okay, I want to say hello again everybody. It's only me, Wushu Richard, or Richard Clark. Welcome back, okay, to another video. I'm outside again. It's a very cool day today. We've got some nice fresh air. I'm outside in this nature setting, you know. I like to get out and find some like quiet places, you know, where there's like no people around, and just have a walk sometimes. You know, it's nice in a green setting, you know, when there's like trees and grass and paths. It's nice. Okay, basically I want to say welcome again everybody, okay? In this video I'm going to talk to you guys, I'm going to talk to everybody, all of you, about fear again, okay, from my point of view, okay, because fear is one of the subjects that I've studied so much in my life, and I believe that most people have fear in them, in general anyway, right? But the difference is people with ego, or people that choose to, I don't know if it's like, I don't know if we're to blame people who choose to act negatively, or if we're to say, well, they, you know, feel sorry for them because they've got like problems and mental issues that they need to be educated in some way. But what I'm trying to say is, like, fear though, let's look at it basically, it's like this. I believe fear is in everybody. Fear is like one of those things, it's like, the thing is, right, if you think about it really, right, you might totally believe like in real feelings, and let's be honest, fair enough, they are real feelings, real emotions, be it, you know, happy, sad, angry, whatever we feel, jealousy, love, all that, right, envy, all the feelings we might feel, be inspired by someone, you know, they're real, of course they're real, but it's like, in some ways, it's like, you can't really categorize things. You can't really say, well, this is the exact definition of fear or anger or love, you know what I'm saying, for anyone, or happiness, right? Because it all comes, it depends, there's many things that make up that feeling in that moment, or for that situation, or for that, you know, it's the same as interest or anything, like any word you can think of, right? It's part of that person and how they're feeling. So every one feeling is like, is a complex combination of different feelings and thoughts, and basically it's the mind. So that's really deep, right? But there's people out there who are like psychiatrists, what do you call it, psychology, you know, doctors and stuff, who will probably try to have you believe one thing or the other. Now, I made another video recently. I made a video talking about fear, and I've made a couple of videos on bullying topics. You know, I was a victim of bullying when I was younger, as I say, and I feel like I've been a victim of bullying and discrimination up until now. Anyway, a lot of people feel that way, but it's like, I do. But then you also say, you know, like, you know, we're victims of ourselves. You know, where it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, if you have a lot of people that are confident, let's say, people out there will say, you know, well, if you believe in yourself, and if you have self-respect, and if you stand up to anyone and just, you know, speak your mind, you can actually control the situation. And maybe even yourself, maybe you believe that's absolutely true. I'm sorry about the wind here. I hope the wind's not affecting the camera, okay? But as I say, it's been so hot recently, so I'm really enjoying this cool fresh air, you know. But I'm just saying, okay, to me though, I don't believe that's true, because every time you're dealing with other human beings, they're all different, right? You can't say that there is a set of rules that work for one way of communication or one way of this, because all thoughts are absolutely different. But yet we have books, you know, this and that for dummies, you know, and all this, or like books that actually tell you how to do well in your business or whatever it might be. It's like people seem to try to get things in order and categorize things, and give what do you call it, doctrines, documentations of how to actually, you know what I mean? It's like, how do you educate a human being? How does a person learn? You know, it's like, yeah, we have to have some order, and yeah, there are proven things, but I don't believe a lot of what we've learned in our lives and the way people think is actual real knowledge. I believe so much, like I've said, so much in our society is based on illusions and confusion. It's just people. It's not Wushu Richard trying to lose you with the music, with some new shit. No. I'm just saying, no. I'm just saying, you know, I believe that most of it is confusion. A lot of people can't. It's like, because it's such a fine thing, people easily tend to follow others. I'm trying to say, you know, it's like they seem to believe that there are certain ways, or that someone else knows better than them, and so that. So it's like, it's very, very easy. I'll say this: it's very, very easy to fall into a way of thinking, if you like, be that fear or confidence. And the way I see it is, they're both fear. They're both the same thing, in a way. You know, it's like how, you might say how, but you know, it's like, it's easy to give in to one way of thinking and say, well, okay, then this is what it is, and you just accept what's given to you. It's easy to accept what is, and that I mean, like, easy to just like go along with someone else's, just what you feel fits you at the right time, you know, or what you fit with, what you see is something against you, or something's working for you, or whatever. What I'm trying to say is, like, I believe so much in the society anyways manufactured our thoughts, everything. And I'm a big, massive fan of Jacques Fresco for the Venus Project. If you've ever known of him, he's one of the wisest people that ever lived. He's like an inventor, everything. He was around with Einstein back in the day. Now he's around 98 years old, I believe, but still kicking it strong. He's a philosopher in many ways, I believe. He's a wise man, and basically he says the same thing. He says that most of what we've learned, language around us and that, it comes from our environment, you know. And nobody's speaking anything new, nobody's trying to be new, nobody's trying to be inventive, no one's trying to open their mind as such. They're like lemmings, people just follow everybody around anyway, and they're too afraid to be themselves. So it's like, how can you learn to be confident? How can you learn to be honest if it doesn't fit? This happens a lot of times. How could you be different? Alright, let's say for example then, maybe you feel you're a very confident person in life, and you stand up for what you believe in. Well, let's face it, right? Could you get by if you were to totally, and you might say, well, you do, but you're not thinking exactly, I don't think. If you were to think carefully, if you were to like just be yourself and follow your own mind, follow your own heart, and say what you want to say, do what you want to do when you do it, life would be it would be hard for you, right, in today's society, or societies. But the thing is, in a monk-like way, for the monks, like the religious monks and that, you know, and the Buddhists, let's say, for example, they would probably teach things like, I don't know exactly, but they'd probably say things like, you know, you want to be free, you know, like meditate and like focus, you want to basically shut yourself off from all of that and break away from the chains and just say to yourself, you know, I don't care about anyone else and what they think. You accept everybody has different ways of thinking. You accept that you are unique, just as we all are underneath all this bullshit, right? Excuse my language. You know, it's like, you know, and that's basically what it is. So it should matter only if it matters to you. But the thing to me is, like I've always said too, is that I've always been like I don't want to say timid or, you know, or weak in that way. That's the wrong word, but it's like I've always had fear in me of like when it comes to dealing with other people, when it comes to actually dealing with, like, you know what I mean? It's like, how can I say, like, it's like one person can't control the world. You can't beat so many people in a physical fight. Let's say when I was in school and I was getting bullied, physically I couldn't take on everybody, right? There's too many people, right? And the second thing is like the mind, the words. You can't beat the group. You know what I'm saying? The individual can't beat the group, and you can't beat where the power is. So I'm trying to say, everybody follows your boss, let's say, in a job, let's say, or follows whatever kind of leader it is. Everybody follows that person, be it for the wrong or right reasons or whatever. But no one's going to turn around and follow you if you've got no power, if you're below. They'll follow the one who's got the money, follow the one who seems to have power, even if those people themselves know that it's wrong and they understand what's morally right and wrong. And they might actually agree with you in their hearts, but people choose to do the wrong things. So I'm trying to say, it takes a lot of courage to be honest within yourself and say, you know what, it doesn't matter, you know, I understand myself. But that's pathetic to even say that, because you should understand yourself anyway, and there's no reason to be afraid. It doesn't matter what people think. Screw them, you know, understand yourself. But the most important thing, I believe, is as I said before, is about what you actually do in life. It's that key in your hand. It's not the fear or the confidence. And the most important thing to me, okay, is basically this. It's like your attitude from your understanding. It's the actual understanding that's the most important thing. If you understand that your actions, you know, and what you do and what the effect is, it's like the experience of life. But it's, you know, it can always be different. But it's like you do. But it's like if you understand that you're not going to die because of this thing, or it's not going to harm you as such. If you've got at least a good broad enough picture at that, then there's no reason to be afraid. That's the way I see it in life. If it's not directly going to affect you or harm you in any way, I should say that. If it's not going to directly harm you in any way, then there's no reason to be afraid. It's like you might say, well, okay, there's different factors, different kind of situations. You might say, for example, hold on. Okay, yeah, please excuse me, I had to stop the camera there for a quick second. So basically what I was saying though is, yeah, there's people that might say, for example, then we need to look at examples, and examples are good to use, you know, and we need to use different points to express what we're talking about, right? So there's some people then who may say things, well, okay, how about, you know, things like competition? Being afraid in a competition, and you might say, well, you know, you'd be afraid to enter a competition because a competition could harm you, right? Because a competition could harm you. Basically, what's the harm? The harm is you might fail in let's say a running race. Let's say, you know, you may come out second best, you might lose, you might trip up, anything could go wrong. Everybody's watching. It might be your life at stake. It might be your own self-respect at stake, everybody's respect. You might lose everybody's respect. It might be your family, it might be loads of people watching you, you know, your name, but you see what I'm trying to say? All of that in itself is a kind of ego to me. All that in itself is kind of like, is fear in itself, because you've got to understand where the root of fear is. That's what you've got to know. If you want to understand something, you've got to understand the root, right? So the root basically is like, if you feel that other people, if you're doing this thing, you know, and it's like got something to do with other people, first of all, you know, like for example, you care what others think about you. You know, if you win or lose, fail in this race, you know, let's say for example in a competition, every situation you've got to look at, every example, you know, so it's like, then you're wrong already. That's your own problem, right? It's your own problem. Everyone's problems. It's their own problems to deal with. It's your own mind. If you were thinking about some delicious food, then you wouldn't be thinking about that, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Same again. But it's like the same as the thing too. You can also decide not to go into that competition and have that race. You know what I'm trying to say? But it's like not to, when you say, well, you're a coward then because you're backing down from it. You might feel it's a new kind of fear. Oh, but then if I do that, I'll feel bad, and I'm afraid to do that. So if you're afraid to back down from it, just go in and do it. But not to prove yourself to anyone else. If you're doing that, that's foolish as well. You want to do what you want to do, just go ahead and do it. There's no reason to be afraid. The same as anything. Now, I use the running race for an example. It could be any type of competition. It could be anything in life, any kind of just speaking your mind in communication. But if it's like, if you're talking about something like a direct, like you getting harmed, like, are you afraid to get into fights, let's say? Then I think you're a human being. I think that's very normal. You're afraid to get into a fight. If anyone starts shouting at you, if someone starts raising their fist towards you, you back down from a fight. I'm not going to say that, well, you're not a hero, you're an absolute coward because you run away or you avoid that. I think you're very wise. No one wants a risk, because nothing's perfect, is it? You might say, well, you don't feel very confident when you cross a road, but you're going to do it if you have to cross that road, right? To go to the shop to buy your food, otherwise you starve. It's the same in a fight. If there's some guy there who's choking you down by your throat, and some tough guy, even who's bigger and stronger than you, someone who's trying to kill you, let's say, then you're going to have to fight to survive for the rest of your life, to save your life. You're not going to be thinking about anything. If someone pushes you into deep water, now I can't swim myself. So can you imagine, right? You'd have to try, wouldn't you, to fight for that breath in your life. You wouldn't be thinking about anything. But then also you might say, well, the fear pushes you on. But the fear hasn't got anything to do with it. The actual action is what we're doing. You know? But there's so many things I could say now. I'm just saying there's things in life that you could go ahead and do if you wanted to, but your mind thinks something else, and then that leads to other complications and then other fears and confusions, and until you don't really know what you're afraid of, or when someone asks you, you just pick the nearest thing that comes out in your mind, and you don't really know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of people are lost in their language and creating a lot of artificially manufactured feelings and emotions is what I really feel. So going back to what I was saying again though about fear then, so let's say the running race or a competition, right? You see what I'm trying to say? So if you was to back out of that, if you were going to back out from that, you would feel that, you know, you'd be doing the wrong thing, and you'd be saying, well, and then you might go on to other complicated areas, is what I'm trying to say. You might start thinking, well, hang on a minute, yeah, I could choose not to go into that race, you know, if I was in better physical condition, if I knew that I was stronger than everybody else, I could run faster than everybody else, if I knew I could do a better job, then I would naturally feel more confident. So it's my level, that's the problem. Okay, but you're wrong again, because that's not the problem. Yeah, that's the issue of the actual race. But the fear and the situation are two different things. You see what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is, your fear and your confidence and how you feel and the attitude you have towards something will definitely affect your performance. But you've still got to have the basics. You've got to have the knowledge, you've got to have the physical ability, whatever it's going to take to do the thing, right? You see what I'm trying to say, right? It's like you want a Frenchman to understand you. Well, you better learn to speak French if that guy can't speak English or another language that you can speak, you know. So it's like you better, you know what I'm saying, it's not about the fear, it's about what you can do. But the most important thing is these two things are separate, is what I'm trying to say, you know. It's like your feeling is one thing and the actual what you do is the other. You might see a guy perform some really incredible physical feat. Now, of course, he's used his mind and he's focused in it. Or there might be someone who's done something really amazingly, physically amazing that you see, and you see, wow, how did you do that, you know? It must have took a lot of mind power or imagination. It might be artistic, or it might be like physically demanding on the body. But the guy might say, well, no, it weren't that difficult. It's easy, you know. I do 1,000 backflips every fucking day. Excuse my language, you know what I mean? It's easy. I hold my breath underwater for 1 hour every day and survive. You might say, how did you do that? But that might be nothing, because he's trained himself up to that level, and that's what martial arts teaches us, the mindset and the mind and body, to like keep pushing on, banging on, you know, so to improve and develop ourselves. So anyway, I'm sorry, I've had to stop this camera a few times along in this video, but I want to just basically say then, you see, that's basically exactly what I'm saying. So walking along this path now, I'm going to head back home soon, but you know, it's like, the ultimate thing though is, the two are connected, yes, how you feel, and, you know, in your mind, your feelings, your emotions, you know, your fear, your confidence, your understanding, your knowledge, all of that is what affects what you do, okay? But the thing is what you do is what's the most important thing. Now, the biggest problem though is because everything starts with the mind. But people's minds are so manufactured in such a way, it's very hard to clean. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's basically like a room, okay, a room which is very clean. It's just a bare, empty room, very clean, and then you start gradually packing stuff into that room, loads of boxes and all kinds of bags and stuff. It's a spare room, let's say, and all kinds of things, even tables and stuff, and big wires and all kinds of things that are set up in that room, all kinds of things. And then what happens is it becomes very hard to actually clean, you know, every corner and every little crack, you know what I mean? Because there's so much stuff, you just don't move it all out of the way, and you just can't. It would be ridiculous to do, right? So, you see what I'm trying to say? So it's like, basically, you know, you have to realise though that is what it is, and there's just too much stuff there. In fact, it's like this place here. I'm walking along on this path here, you see. This path, and there's like all this greenery around, you know. But if you look through here, I'm going to show you something very, very interesting. If you look through here, and we're going to finish our video in a moment, but you see through here, look in there. Can you see in there? What's that? Those are things that, can you see? People are growing. People are growing stuff in there. People are growing some crops, some little crops or something in there. Did you see that? That's a little private place where people are growing their things, and that's hidden amongst all this stuff. And if you were walking along this path amongst all this overgrowth here, undergrowth, whatever you call it, you might not realise, you might not see that over there, over the back there. So that over the back there, that's basically like your ideas in your mind. They're the things that you really believe in. But all this stuff is surrounding it here, all these other thoughts, let's say, in your mind, and you just can't see who you really are, and all, you know, and all this stuff is no use to you. But you know, you might, you know what I mean. So it makes it like that's no use. Your ideas, your beliefs, your thoughts, and who you are, You know, all of that and all your thoughts, all that becomes useless. It has no use to it. The more you believe in that, the more you push it to the back. But the more you focus on it, the more you use something, and the more you develop it, the more, you see that martial arts again, you see, the more you develop something, what you believe in, that will develop you, because that's part of you. You can't really develop yourself if you don't develop what you believe in to a level that you can work with it and do good things with it. You know, it might not work in certain situations, but it might work in others. And it doesn't even matter on how developed you are, or how knowledgeable you are about that subject or whatever it is, you know, or able. But the most important thing is you use it in some way. And you can, it's the same thing, you know, it's like you pull one it's like a card, a deck of cards, yeah, a tower of cards. You just pull one card out and the whole tower falls down. You know what I mean? The same thing again. You know what I mean? That's all there is to it. A little drop of water every day, a little bit of sunshine on that flower will make it grow. You see what I'm trying to say? I can give you loads of philosophical jargon, you know, and philosophical examples, and picking out stuff from nature too, and stuff that you really know is true, but it sounds corny and it sounds rubbish, and it doesn't work for you maybe in this real world. You look over here at this dried up pond area, whatever it's supposed to be. There was water in there now, but this is what becomes of you. In the end, we die. In the end, and we become, our bodies rot and there's skeletons, you know, and that's what there is. And now you're laughing, probably thinking that's funny, but what I'm trying to say is this is the reality of it. So why not be the best you can be while you're here? You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. And that's how I know about it. You should know. If you feel, you should know the feeling, right? And then feel the knowing of that. You know, and there's nothing, if you're not true to yourself, there's no truth in you. You know what I mean? And you're just going round. You know what I mean? It's like I'm walking around these paths here. You're walking the same paths every day of your life. No, I'm just saying, understand yourself. Fear is natural, right? But it's like you have to understand what you're afraid of. If you understand there's no actual threat to you, then there's nothing to be afraid of. You know what I'm trying to say? You shouldn't be afraid because of your own thoughts and building up when it's actually nothing. It's like if you're afraid to get into a fight with someone and you're afraid that maybe the guy might hit you in the face or you might die, or whatever, even the smallest things, they're fair enough. You understand? You develop your abilities and you avoid negativity, and that's the best way to be in life, I feel. Now I'm going to walk down this path and head back home now. I want to say thank you very much for watching this little nature path video with me out in nature. And just take care of yourself. There's no reason to be afraid to be yourself in this life, I feel. But they will tell you that that's wrong. You know, people will tell you that, well, you know, obviously, and you'll tell yourself even that, you know, if you just follow your own ideas and your thoughts in this world, you can't get anywhere. Yeah, like I've said before, you can't play football when everybody else is playing basketball. You can't go onto a basketball field and expect in a basketball court, you know, and then play football. You've got to follow the basketball rules there, but you can choose not to play basketball. You see what I'm trying to say? There are people out there who want to play football as well, believe it or not. But you know, make more friends. See how relevant your ideas are in the real world. You know what I'm saying? See how relevant, how related, how true, and reflect from the real world. Study the world around you. Study other people and look for bits of you. Look to see, like, are there people that think similar to me? You'll find that there are. Are there people that have, or what do you like about some people? Some people's creative talents and artwork. What do you like? What movies do you like? Straight away there, right? There's directors and stuff who make movies, and there's parts of movies that you really like, right? That show this is another human being, you know, who thinks similar to you. You know what I mean? Artwork or anything it might be, music, physical abilities, whatever you want, just things you see that really inspire you. And that means that if they inspire you, you can also inspire them the same way. The only thing is that they've had the drive and determination. Those people are the same as you. They didn't take the paths of others and just follow and live in other people's worlds, because if they did, they would also be failures, because they wouldn't get anywhere, because they wasn't born for that. Like you were born to be you. you know. And there's people who go in basketball or go into sports and stuff, and they also feel they're a failure. They also feel bad about, they feel they've done a bad job sometimes when they're playing a game, and there's a lot of complications in that, and people becoming famous and that, and money and all kinds of stuff, or team pressure. But I'm just saying, the most important thing though is you're doing what you want to do. Life's going to be hard, there's going to be challenges, but you can always change what route you want to go, and you can always stop doing something you don't want to do, continue doing something you want to do. And you might say, well no, how can I just leave a job I'm not happy in? Right? You might want to leave your job, but it might be hard to find another one. Yeah, it's hard. Martial arts though, the focus is about trying to develop in yourself. That's the philosophy of it. Even if you're not a martial artist, I'm just trying to say it. It's like, tell you to open your mind, focus, you know, and always look for more in this life, and don't just stay on that one mindset. That if your mind's not, you're not somebody else, are you? You're only you. So there's no reason to be afraid all the time. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Fear needs to be understood. You need to understand yourself, is what I'll say. That's the most important thing. Thanks for watching. I'm going to stop this video here.